Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm sure you were aware because you registered and arrived. But this is part of our today is a part of our four-part series that we call core trainings. We have, as some here know, as Tico knows, we have a 2-year training program for the Zen Peacemaker Order, but this is a big commitment. This is a long commitment. It's a lot of time and is much more involved. We wanted to offer something that was simpler, free, easy for people to access, no prerequisites. And so we started the core trainings a little over a year ago. And these are Introduction to Meditation, Introduction to Council Practice, Introduction to Peacemaking, and an introduction to the three tenets. We really think of the four of these as the most foundational practices or perspectives of the Zen peacemakers. So these are all 1 hour long, and I'll turn it over to my friend Koho here in a minute because we don't have that much time. These are 1 hour long. You can repeat them as many times as you like. We do one every month, so come see us for the others if you have not already. So today my friend Sensei Koho will be talking about the three tenets of the Zen peacemakers, and I won't get into that. I'll let him do so. But once again, thank you all for being here. It's very nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And dear Koho, there you go. I'm handing you the microphone.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, dear friends. It's good to see you today with us. So one important point is this core trainings. We have many different people sharing more than teaching. And today, my feeling is that I will share with you these years of experiences that I have being a peacemaker, being a member of this community. And I think that what I have learned from my teachers and from all teachers that I have, all beings that I had contact in these years, when we start to talk about or to share about the three tenets, we must go back to 1994 when Bernie Glassman started to put in a form, manifest this expression of his commitment to the practice. So we have now 30 years now of these experiences, and this common ground is really the foundation of our practice. It's not about to learn, it's much more about feeling what is the fabric of our life. Probably you know already what I'm talking about, so the three tenets, but the most important is to share my vision. And my vision here is about, as I said before, my experiences. I started my contact with the Zen Peacemakers in 2000. And first I met Eve Marco. I'm a Brazilian. I was living at that point in south of Brazil. And Eve Marco came for participating in the World Social Forum. So it's like, okay, what do we have here? So a Zen teacher from the Zen Peacemaker taking part in a huge social meeting. At that time, we have 130,000 people gathered in Porto Alegre. So looking for how can we have a more fair, more human world. And then Eve shared with two other teachers, my ordination teacher, Kohen Roshi, and another nun, Zuiten, a workshop about the feminine aspect of the Dharma. And it was wonderful. 100 people listening about these three very different women sharing about his Dharma practice. And Eve shared, as it was the first time that I heard about the three tenets, and she shared about how important is this foundation for his life and for the Zen Peacemaker community. Okay, then in 2010 I transferred my residence to Switzerland. I live in Switzerland now, in Zurich. And in 2008 and 2010, I did my first street retreat with Genro Roshi and my first Auschwitz-Birkenau retreat. And since then, I'm really committed as far as I can with this community and trying to serve as best as I can to this vision of a more spiritual life. And when I share about spiritual life, it's not something mystical. It's about a meaningful life. It's about a life that is, as Bernd said, always, our life is the manifestation of the Dharma, of the truth, that all traditions will share with us, the serious spiritual traditions. So the three tenets in this aspect is the philosophical aspect of a social engaged spirituality, which at the same time will manifest as a tool for anyone from any country, any background, to really manifest spirituality in his life. So I really love the expression that Bernie used always, that the spiritual life is about to realize the oneness of life. As an idea, this is really beautiful. But in my opinion, as a true embodiment of my practice is like a sense of enoughness. I really don't need any other revelation to be fulfilled in my longing for meaning in this life. So, and the three tenets like the body of the manifestation of oneness of life. So let's start looking for what we have as the three tenets. If you know already, it's okay, but let me share with you my vision about this. So the first tenet is not knowing. Many times when we share about not knowing, some people understand that's like don't know nothing. And my way of explaining is that we must study a lot in order to really start to understand not knowing. And I received a wonderful metaphor from a Christian philosopher saying that knowledge is like an island. So, as much as you have knowledge, this island will grow. But what this will manifest will prove that the ocean of not knowing is even bigger. And this amazement with the vastness of what we don't know is the first step to, I use the word understand, but it's not about understanding, to feel really what we are talking about when we say not knowing. I'm ordained in the Soto Zen, the Japanese Soto Zen Buddhism, and from the first steps in the 90s, I really felt like, oh, this is weird. Because in our normal formal practice, we are challenged all the time to give up a sense of safety. Like you are in a retreat and now I have my room. Okay, everything is in the right place. And then the teacher will come and say, change your room. What's the point here? You know, or when I start to learn the form of the rituals and so on, the teacher will come and say, okay, we'll change the form, we'll change the ritual, we'll change the recitation. What's the point here? In a way, what I understand now in my body is to live a life that is real. But look at your life. What is safe? What is really safe? What you can be sure about it in your life? Really, deeply. The fabric of life is impermanence. Everything changes all the time. But as human beings, our wish and our normal behavior is to search for safety and for something stable. But what is really safe and sure is that nothing is permanent. So not knowing is much more about acceptance and to give up fixing ideas. This is the formal, the technical definition. But the most important is to feel in our heart, in our mind, in our body. Look at the mirror. Every day we are different. And this may be some bad news. It will not stop, you know. Then to accept the first tenet is just to accept the fabric, the very natural way of life as it is. But let's look for the other side of this, I'd say, statement. In the same way, when we live a life that accepts the impermanence, it's a very interesting life. It's quite alive. It's like the seasons, Uh, right before we are sharing about the new season coming. So every year we have the same season, but it's different. Someone have the mic open, probably. Yeah. I can close. Anyway, it's like so, something is impossible to control. Almost nothing is possible to control. And we try to when we try to control the real life, then the life becomes complicated. And this is my social work right now, how to live a simple life. The first step is to accept that we don't know really what will come in the next minute. This can be scary, but also can be a wonderful source of amazement and a wonderful source of this that we call in Zen the beginner's mind state. Then we can rejoice everything, looking for possibilities. Everything is open, and this is life as it is. About the form, when Bernie conceived this model, he shared about a tool for transformation. First, personal transformation, and from personal transformation, social transformation. Because when we start to understand not knowing as a state of mind, then we are like a container that will receive everything as it is. So, no good, no bad, no rights, no wrongs, and then we accept everything. So, as new, as renewed every moment. From this point, we can really plunge into reality and to start the practice of the second tenet, that is bearing witness. As we have a container, then we can surrender ourselves to the reality as it is. Formal definition is to realize and to experience the joy and the sadness of the world, the joy and the sorrow. Again, another tip here. Normally, people put the focus attention in the sorrows, but first, the definition of the second tenet is the joy and the sorrow. So, in this sense, the second tenet based on the not knowing state of mind. So we are amazed that everything is changing all the time. Then when we bear witness to the reality, we can choose. We are free to choose if I want to look for some or for another aspect of life. And we can change this choice every moment. In a way, combining the first and the second tenet, we have a condition to learn all the time with everything and everyone. And the life itself will become our permanent school of the truth, the Dharma will say. And then in our community, we'll have these bearing witness retreats when we go to places that normally scares us or are not, good to see, good to feel. Why we go there? In order to realize or to see another mirror. And this again is to experience life as it is. It's very important, at least in my experience, when I start to walk this path of the Zen Peacemaker community, very soon I realized that it's not easy, but it's quite simple. Quite simple. First, I must be myself. Or saying in other words, I have all the resources that I need to live a spiritual life. In terms of fruits or commitments, what comes from these two first tenets? First, in my opinion and experience, a non-violent life. Because we accept everything as it is, not saying this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. In my feelings, the most important effect in my daily life is to be free from the obligation of being right. So then I'm free to be happy. If I don't need to be right, I can be happy. I don't know if this makes sense for you, but normally, at least in my culture, I receive this imprint: you must be right. And then we have the soil for the seeds of violence. I don't know, many times violence is just a non-respectful way to look, talk, think about, or to treat someone or a situation. So the commitment to non-violence based on not knowing, I don't know what is right for you. You have your life, you are, as the philosopher said, you are you and your circumstances. So not knowing is to accept that you have your world, you have your bubble of reality, we say something sometimes. I have my bubble of reality. And I'm quite sure that I'm doing my best. Sometimes I'm quite sure that I'm right. But probably you say, no, you are wrong. Then we can have a conflict, unnecessary. So not knowing give us the soil to surrender ourselves a new possibility. Oh, this person, this community have a specific way of doing or thinking or behaving, that what they think, what he, she think that is right. So I accept. But this start here or here, there. Then in order to really manifest this in terms of non-violence, I must do share your reality in some way. You can say empathy, compassion, just words. But the attitude of openness, giving up fixed ideas, this start the process. And then I will manifest this process bearing witness to your reality, to your circumstances. Let me repeat, this is about spirituality. This is about spirituality. And in the Zen Peacemaker community, as far as I remember when I heard Bernie talking about, spirituality is our life. Zen is our life. Everything can be a revelation of the truth, of the Dharma. Wonderful. But how can be manifested? You know, we have thousands of books and lectures and retreats and workshops. Wonderful. What about our world? What about your life? What about your sense of a meaningful daily life? This, in my opinion, is to live a life as a peacemaker. You know, I choose to be part of a world of peace. And I will start with myself. The transformation will start in myself. And this is a big challenge because it's quite easy to point out. Let me give you a very easy metaphor to understand this sense of to pointing out. I received this from a teacher, and she told me, when we have a problem, first thing that we try is to point with this finger, the indicator. We say, no, aha, you are the problem. And if the other side says, no, 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 don't project in myself, then I say, okay, then he or she is the problem, something mystical. No answer. Okay, then, I have 3 points myself. And this three, in my school in Buddhism, we say is the three poisons, ignorance, greed, and hatred. So I'm ignorant about your reality. I try to grasp what I want, and I try to avoid what I don't want. So it's a sense about I know what is good. I know what is important for my happiness. And this is the first step to, in my opinion, a life of expectations. And from expectation, I will have frustration. Let's take another step. So we have a container that is open enough to receive everything as it is. One point, this is not passivity. This is about to be a peaceful person, not a passive person. Non-violence is not about not doing nothing. It's about doing what is needed in a non-violent way. So bearing witness is the tool to understand a way that is efficient but non-violent. But what to do? In this teaching, we will receive the definition. We take actions that will naturally arise from not knowing and bearing witness. Quite vague, but it's true. We don't try to anticipate, we don't try to plan, we just do what comes to our heart mind. After opening a field of possibilities, not judgmental, after engaging ourselves to plunge ourselves in the situation, we just look what comes. And this is, in my opinion, is a big teaching of Bernd Glassman. We don't try to do the right thing. We just do the next thing to do. Now, where I am, with the resources that I have, I just do the next step. And we'll repeat this process next moment. Really alive, really dynamic, really true. Then we have not knowing, an open field of possibilities, non-judgmental, giving up fixed ideas. We have bearing witness, surrendering ourselves to the situations, and taking action, just listening, deep listening. In my culture, we say that it's important to remember that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So 2 times more listening than talking. And then, as Jeff said, then is another core training about counsel, because counsel is like manifest the 3 tenets in communication in a community. Sometimes a community of 2 persons, sometimes a big community. So the 3 tenets is like a methodology for inclusivity, for allowance of free expression, and a field of experimentation. It's about freedom, freedom with responsibility, freedom with respect, freedom with commitment to nonviolence. And as Jeff also said, so the 3 tenets is the most important, in my opinion, foundation of the work and practice of the Zen peacemaker community. because it's like the uh, source of our ethical procedures, always. So when I'm in a relationship, I will apply the three tenets. In my professional life, I will apply the three tenets. In my community life, I will apply the three tenets. And in my experience, because I'm a kiddo practitioner and teacher, when I face a conflict, three tenets. So not starting from a point of I know what's happening, I know who is right, who is wrong here. No, I will go to the center of the process in a non-violent, in a peaceful way, open, and listen. So quite easy to talk about, quite easy. I can write many pages about this. But I think that my role here as a member of the peacemaker community and some other roles is to share with you a human experience. How can this be useful in the best sense of this word for a human being nourishing, that wants to nourish a meaningful life, a peaceful life, and a happy life. Because remember, Bernie told us about first transformation in a personal level. This is not about to be another person. It's about to be happy about myself and to transform myself every time, applying not knowing about me. So accepting all parts of myself and transforming in a more, how to say, evolutive way. So our society right now have so many crises, it's systemic. From the big war that you have, the big war that you have is against nature, and this war we lose it already. It's impossible to win a war against nature. For the little wars, so sad, so tragic to see human beings, treating another human beings as they are not human beings. Dehumanizing. Because I know who is right. I know who have rights to be or to do this or that. So it's like the soil is contaminated by certainty. I know. How can someone can be different? And linking with our next retreat in November, from 2010, my motivation to go to Auschwitz-Birkenau is to remember that the seeds that I see there, I have in my heart mind. So my daily practice of the three tenets is I do it in order to nourish the good seeds, the best seeds, because I'm a human being. It's possible in some circumstances, I also can do really bad things. So this is the importance of cultivating some model. The map is not the territory, but the 310 is a so efficient map of the territory of our consciousness that I can say enthusiastically, try it. Don't believe in me. Very important. Don't believe in me. Try it, apply, and see the results. Because I don't like this sense of I would say hierarchy. Oh, okay, he's is part of the Zen peacemaker community and have a title of sensei or so. Forget it. This is just outside aspect of a practice. The most important is the relationship that I can have with any being. And this, again, I think that this came from Egyoko Nakao Roshi. She told the three tenets, they are the nourishment for a relationship between equals. Even when I feel that I'm helping someone, this relationship is between equals. No one is better. There is no giver and receiver. Because when I give something, I'm giving a talk to you. I'm receiving your attention, and probably in our, question and answers, I will learn with you. And finally, I'm receiving the contentment of serving. That is, again, Dan Burney, is the most important manifestation of realization or enlightenment is to serve. Love or spiritual realization is about serving. Serving, even not realizing that I'm doing something precious or so. No, it's just because, in the spring, the flowers will come. It's natural. When I'm in a state of contentment, my contentment will be amplified when I share the reasons of my contentment. And now I want to I love to talk. I want to save time for sharing. Now my contentment is to share with you that these three tenets, in a way, changed my life in one very important aspect. Until meeting the Zen peacemaker, I was really, how to say this, one-sided practitioner. So, I started to do judo 14 years old, and then I met my shiatsu teacher, and then my Zen teacher, then, Japan, wow. But, it's quite distant, this culture. And then through Zen peacemakers, I realized that using the three tenets, I can translate even the most traditional expression, Japanese expression of the Dharma for anyone. No robes, no symbols, just being a human being. Because it's like an universal language about how to be a whole human being. So, yeah, I think that this is the most important, and the most important even is to share with you. And I like to share, mainly as a Brazilian. I think that the relationships are quite important, and I'm sure that you have lots of experiences about how to apply some kind of references like this one. Yeah, and if you have questions, please go ahead. If not, I can share more concepts with you, some experiences also. Jeff, you can lead the process.
I will. I will. Thank you, Koho. I can see most everybody. I think two people have their cameras off, but if you'd like to ask a question or a comment or ask Koho to clarify anything, just go ahead and wave. Hi, Jonathan. It's been a long time. Good to see you. Yeah, go ahead and put your hand up. If you, yes, Marcia, thank you so much.
I I don't know if I got down the three tenets. I have um, not knowing, bearing witness, and I wasn't sure it was clear what the third one is. I don't know if that's counsel or action, but it seems like that might be. So just to be clear and be able to have it in my head, I wanted you to explain that a little more.
Yes, thanks, because I linked with counsel. The third one is taking action. Taking action. Very important. Not so much time ago, it was love in action. Then we felt that love in action for some people is not exactly the same that for another people. Then we changed it for taking action, because loving is a concept, you know. But taking action that arose from not knowing, bearing witness, will be some natural way of expressing this attitude of a daily life spirituality, or a commitment to a non-violent way of living, and so on. So, thank you. Not knowing, bearing witness, taking action. You gave me opportunity to say one very important thing as educator. This is just a pedagogical way of saying, because the three tenets are just one. They are a flow of energy of life. We put in concepts in order to understand in a better way. but it's a flow. When we really surrender ourselves to a situation, if you are really, really present at that moment, we will see that we don't know. I can take an action in a state of not knowing, the sense of surrender will come naturally. If I really try to do, as some native traditions in Latin America says, in your birthday, try to do something that you never did before. Wow. If I try to do this, I can realize, oh, so many new things in this situation. And wow, I'm feeling some new sensations, feelings, new ideas. Is a whole that we split in concepts in order to understand. But this, is like a sphere that we look for one or other point. So the three tenets are just one, in essence. But thanks for your question. Very good.
Thank you, Marcia. I hope that helped. Yeah. Anyone else have a question here? And Monica, thanks. Yeah, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Marcia, for asking that question, because that was also my question. Like, what's the third tenet? Action. You also said, Koho, thank you so much for all this, that you don't necessarily know what's right. And, so when we apply these tenets to our actual life right here, an example I have is with, I very much want our neighbors to all get along. I live in a semi-rural community, and it's when people move in, there's been several new neighbors. I try to do a welcome basket to just help people to know who is around them. But I'm also working with my social anxiety and imperfection of being able to actualize this. And then, sometime there's, how do I know? When something happens, like the people cut down all the brush where the foxes live, and then there is a neighbor her joy is to listen to the foxes. Now the foxes are gone. What is my role? How do I help in the situation? I'm also very invested in loving nature and foxes. I want to see the foxes. Now we're talking perception, fences, foxes, neighbors, joy, sadness, sorrow, needs, all of this. Do I come and I tell the neighbors, this lady's sad? What do I say? What do I do? What is right? How do I know?
Thank you very much, Monica, for your question. First, thanks for your wonderful background. I love art, and it's beautiful, the painting. Well, first point, we have some cultural hindrances. The original word about this is correct, samyak. Correct is not right or wrong, is what is good for everyone. The sense of not knowing is to remember that this dualistic thinking is about what Bernie called clubs. I have my club, and then people from another club probably will be wrong. But this is the first layer, is to set a non-violent attitude. But as I said before, non-violence is not about, be just okay, I'm okay, everything is peaceful, love, and so. No, absolutely. Correct is to do what I think that is good for everyone, not for myself. First point is not about myself. And I can give you an example from here, right after. And to at least to try as best as I can to overcome these violent actions in a non-violent way. This is the big challenge. This is the koan of our time. How can we face a so violent society in a non-violent way? We must be in a way skillful, strategic, but most of all compassionate. And now I can give you an example. We live out of Zurich, so we have here a hill. Every year people, authorities give an advice. Please, when you use machines, first of all, make noises, because the baby deers, they will be sleeping, hedgehogs, and every year we see hundreds of animals, killed by machines. Like 1 week ago, I love hedgehogs, I must say. 1 week or 10 days ago, I was walking with my dog, and then just a skin of hedgehog. Oh, I was so angry. Okay, go back to my practicing. Maybe a fox, maybe a human being. First, I accept this in a state of not knowing. I accept this side of myself. I'm sad. I'm really sad. And then I just take an action. Plunging into my sadness, I made a little grave for this, wonderful hedgehog, and I planted some flowers. First action. Second, I went to talk with the man that work here with the machine and say, I tried to do my best saying, I'm an environmentalist, I'm an educator, and I want to share with you this and this and this and that. Can you help me? Very important way to act. Can you help me? I asked for help. Maybe it works, maybe not. But at that time, the most important here, I believe, is to understand this attitude of, let's remember Jonah Macy, active hope. Is a very active way of accepting reality, but doing something in a non-violent way. And one reference that I'm using for many years is this work that reconnects with Jonah Macy. First, we connect with gratitude. I think that you have the same merit that I have. I enjoy nature always. So this is a merit. I can just celebrate life, walk into the forest. Just this. But this is a big merit. Probably a person that don't have this merit yet will treat nature as a commodity, as something. And this is sad. This is sad because it's to deny a huge source of contentment and of happiness. Gratitude for what we have. Second, I will accept my sadness. And then I will start a process of transformation, sharing the best thing that I have in a non-violent way. So I don't have a formal answer, but what works for me, I'm working a program in the last 18 years, trying to share with people in any profession how to live a sustainable life. Now we say a regenerative life. So it's not possible now just to sustain. We need to regenerate. And this will take generations. So when I listen, I say, oh, I have a sister there. And this is a source of, contentment. This is so much in these times, to meet like-minded people and to nourish my mind, my soul with this wind of hope. I don't know where you are, doesn't matter, but it's important to know that you are alive and you have the same feeling that I have. So it's a process that we nourish through sharing our way of doing. But the most basic is First, there is no right in like a box. What is correct is what is good for everyone, starting with myself. Very important, starting with myself. I must take care about myself. Why? Because how can I give something that I don't have? How can I give respect, love, compassion, empathy if I don't have about myself? So it's important to accept when I'm sad, when I'm, really, how to say, I don't remember the word in English. I'm angry. It's important to accept. And from this, transform into an action that's non-violent. But we must act. This is a very important delusion that you must, how to say, not eliminate, but overcome. We must act just in a non-violent way. And this requires normally skills, strategy, and in my opinion, a community that support us with, diversity of talents. This is the power of a community. And, we can look for instance, for internet as a problem. I think that can be a solution. I can receive teachings from all over the world about my challenges instantaneously. Sure, sometimes it's a problem if I give my time to the virtual world. But by the way, we are sharing now because we have internet. So this is the point. So it's not good, not bad, but the correct way of using internet, in my opinion, is this one: to share experience and knowledge and spirituality with like-minded people, and always, when it's possible, with people that don't think like myself. Dialogue. So this is, but as Bernd said always, this is just my opinion. Thanks for the question, Monica.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Yeah.
I hope that helped, Monica. And I really liked your question, Koho. If I could put a little sharper point on Monica's question, so often from being still, from not knowing and bearing witness, what we see is how much suffering there is in the world, and we really want to do something, and we want to do the right thing, and I think it's easy to get stuck there. Well, I don't want to do the wrong thing, so I need to be careful, or I don't want to make this situation worse. Can you talk a little bit about that? It is guaranteed when we take action, sometimes we're going to get it wrong. Sometimes we're going to do the wrong thing. There's no way. This is my opinion, just my opinion, but I'm curious what you say about this. There's no way to guarantee that what I'm going to do, because I don't know, is going to make it better. It might make it worse, but I have to act anyway. Can you talk a little bit about making mistakes?
Sure. I think that our agreement is the difficult questions for you, not for me. No, how can a child learn anything without mistakes? But when we become adults, we must do the right thing. Then we stop to learn. In our traditional way of learning, the most important is the motivation. And motivation is nourished by, as Jeff said wisely, by silence by time of reflecting and or opening spaces. Opening space again is about not knowing. So in a way, in my opinion, we'll have a core training October 14th about meditation. In my opinion, meditation is about a space for accepting what is. And from this space, from this openness, then we can see what is the best thing to do now. it will be the right one? I don't know. But only doing, I will see maybe one more way that is not working. So I'm just shortening the way. But it's difficult, at least in my culture, to accept that I must accept mistakes with the same mind, with equanimity, you say. But this is the way that we learn at all. And little by little, mainly when we are living in a community, and this is it's a wide concept, normally doing mistakes together will little by little improve our way of doing. I love to remember that community is about the common unity. So this common unity that we trust and we live on is our whole humanity. So it's a state of acceptance that we are not perfect. Perfection is just an idea, but ideal is not real. Ideal is not real. As much as we surrender ourselves to the experience of doing in a non-violent way with the right motivation, more and more, in my experience, we will live a peaceful, a meaningful, I would say a spiritual life. So no certainty about doing the right thing. Mistakes will happen. But as Bernie said again, it's not about doing the right thing. It's about doing the next thing to do. With the ingredients that I have, where I am, trying to do my best. So that's it.
Thank you, dear Koho. Very much appreciated. We have just a few more minutes here. If someone else has a question or an observation or something to share. What a nice group today. Jeffrey.
Yes. I just wanted to share what was coming up for me around the not knowing in Monica's question, and the sort of the active receptive aspect of not knowing, and to really honor not knowing, and to not move, like it's always with us, and to not move past it so much. And when we don't know what to do, to kind of remember. So I think that having spent a lot of time with Buddhist scholarly studies, and then what do we do? The three tenets are really amazing in taking something so complex and so vast and giving us something to do. And the not knowing piece is really the foundation, and it's receptive. And so when we don't know, we honor not knowing, and it's vast, and it's an active, it's an action in and of itself. Not knowing, it's present, it's receptive, it's inquiring, it's always it's receptive, so the bearing witness and the action, and then there's feeling. So the not knowing and the feeling are so closely related, and so there's this depth of not knowing that's active, and this depth of bearing witness that's feeling, that needs to be honored. And the other part kind of isn't so much like strategy, right? So the action piece is the last strategy, like that's where we don't strategize in some sense. But so I just wanted to say, to really honor the not knowing, and to like that the practice becomes this practice of active not knowing. Like not knowing is our heart searching, is longing, wanting, so there's an active component of that. But anyway, just to trust that piece. And I think that's something that's taken me a long time to learn, but that it's the source, it's kind of the foundation. Thank you. And thank you for this presentation.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Very, very wise.
Anyone else? We have a couple more minutes here if you'd like.
I have to finish. Oh, please, Jonathan.
Jonathan, you're muted, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't see myself, so I don't know. Am I in the space I'm not quite sure. Am I
You're good.
good?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. No, what I believe Jeffrey just brought up, it's very interesting because it brought up in me that whole cultural thing of uh, as a man, as a husband, as a father, whatever, to need to know, right? Our job is my job is to know, and it's passed on from generation to generation. And sometimes, as wonderful as it is, it's so frustrating when somebody asks, or whether it's my wife or my mother-in-law, she wants an answer and I don't know it. And immediately, I go out and hunt it because I would ask my father, and if he said, I don't know, look it up, go find out. So you pride yourself and go, hey, Dad, guess what? I found out blah, blah, blah. And so the not knowing is also a challenge and frustrating when I don't have a ready answer. And I think for me, that's the hardest part. Action I can take, um, but an opening to dialogue, it's easy for me, but the not having a ready answer can be so frustrating and challenging. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for your clarity of mind and honesty. Even I received also this imprint from my father, a man is someone that have the answers. Oh
Yeah,
my.
yeah,
And then you must carry this burden.
yeah.
But I have my, as professionally, I'm working as a therapist, but I was a systems analyst for some years, and I survived. So, but dealing with suffering of human beings, and as a monk, like last week we did 2 memorial services. This like just break my sense of, oh yeah, I know. I don't know. I really don't know when life express itself in the whole aspects. I don't know what comes. And then I honor the words of Jeffrey. The ground is not knowing. And Bern will relate with the first pure precept and so on. So with also the impermanence and the true nature and so on. It's a big field, but it's wonderful to have at least 1 hour. I want to finish with a short text of Bernd Glassman. I will read with my terrible English because I tried to share with Jeff, but it's impossible. Okay, I will do my best, and we can share with you after. It's from I think that an interview in Lion's Roar, I think 2013 or so, and Bernd said about the like the summary of the 3 tenets. For me, the flowering of Zazen, the meditation, is the third pure precept, doing good for others. Dogen, the founder of Soto Zen School, says, this is to transcend the profane and to be beyond the holy. This is to liberate oneself and others. Ben will say more. What good is it if we just make ourselves more holy? What's the point? The point is to serve, to offer, to be the offering. Of itself, the fruit is born. So we don't have to worry about what to do. If we cease from evil, if you become the state of unknowing, if we become Zazen, the offering will arise, the fruit will be born. The question always comes up, how do we bring our Zen into our life? But Zen is life. What is there to bring? And into what? The point is to see life as the practice field. Every aspect of our life has to become practice. I was trained in a traditional monastic model whose forms are conducive to the state of not knowing. The question for me is, what forms can we create in modern society that will be conducive to seeing the oneness of life? What are the forms that will make it easier for us to experience the state of non-duality. Almost anything we do will cause more dualistic thinking. How do we lead ourselves, our brothers, our sisters, into a state of non-duality? That is the question. That is the koan. So this is an interview from Bernd Glassman in 2013, I believe, and I feel really precious. And I feel that this is even better than everything that I shared with you. So thanks so much for your attention. Be connected. We have so much wonderful offerings in our Hive platform. Just come, and I'm sure that you have so much to offer also. Thanks for our sharings, our questions, but more for our presence. And thanks, dear friend Jet, for your always kind efficiency. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Koho, and thank you everybody for being with us for this hour. And good to see you all. Come to another program. We'd love to see you again. So everybody stay healthy, stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of someone else.